Welcome back, everybody. I wanted to, moving into our game number 3 of the day, SK versus Koi, I wanted to take a look at Koi's team fighting. The fundamental idea of League of Legends is to find ways to group without losing too much. It's very important that you find ways to connect, and that is essentially League of Legends in a nutshell. In some of these fights, the fundamental issue that I have identified in Koi's gameplay is the fact that they're always very scattered. I want to make sure that all of you see Comp's position here. The most important thing why everyone's always looking at the mid wave and how you contest it is to make sure that your AD carry never becomes isolated. I'm going to play the clip now. I'm going to, of course, let it roll. You see that Comp now in this position with the Jhin, always you want to be in a position where you're angling and positioning in a way where you're moving forward. Of course, Koi's composition, they want to flank, but now it's the Jhin that is flanking. Sure, you can massage the back of the necks of your enemies with some bullets, but it's very uncomfortable. Fnatic identified that Comp is isolated and he cannot participate in this fight at all. We move on into the next replay as soon as we see Gragas, of course, bullying them, because we're going to see the exact same thing once again. Here we have Comp. Once again, I'm going to pause it. He is isolated. What is his team doing? They're trying to position in the bot side river. And the awkward thing for him, of course, is he cannot enter into this space. If he tries to cross, if he tries to connect, it's not going to be possible. Not at all. Because here, Jace is, and the position of the Maokai saplings and all the jazz that he needs to go through will just kill him. So he's isolated, and in reality, if you wanted to set up this composition in some kind of way, you put maybe Ryze on mid lane, he can ult into the fight, you put a flanker in mid lane, and then it's going to work a lot better. We're going to roll the clip. Once again, Comp is in isolation, Fnatic identify it, they can just move forward. Koi tried to solve this problem by Ryze ulting in, of course, with Ryze, and then, of course, with Rakan as well. But Comp is still in isolation. How does he participate in this fight? He's walking on vision, and once again, the same issue for Koi. They are just not playing together as a unit. And Comp, he can't even auto-attack. Humanoid, is there throwing his EQs, and Fnatic can just kite backwards and utilize the fact that Comp is not in the fight. The next replay shows kind of the same idea. If we pause it, Koi posturing very aggressively. Here on the top corner, Elise and Victor, they're hovering onto mid, but they're not really aware of the fact that the team, that is of course Comp, wants to engage on to the enemies. We roll the clip once again. Koi are fighting forward, they're pushing forward, and the Elise and the Victor are not in position. The TP comes from behind, and this fight is over before Elise and Victor can even do anything in the game. So if you look at Koi's issues, the main thing that I notice, if you want a band-aid solution, solve this problem, you need to talk about what you want to do 1 minute ahead. I feel like Koi's gameplay, way too spontaneous, which puts them in very awkward positions to kind of create fights where they're together. So all in all, I hope that Koi are fixing this one because SK are playing together as a team. Very exciting, this matchup. Medic and Vedius, please take it away.
Hi,
hello.
Welcome everyone.
That was a little bit quicker than we just got our hot water and honey
there,
by Jess. Very kind of her.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jess. Everyone say thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Jess. There we are. Yeah.
There we go. I wasn't expecting you to get the crowd to do that, but
it's important that we recognise the work that Jess does.
Yeah. Of course, we have a wonderful crew here at the LEC.
That we do.
But yeah, wasn't expecting that. But thank you so much, Yamato. He was breaking down a lot of what we were talking about when we actually saw that matchup between Koi and Fnatic last week, where it definitely feels like that they're disjointed. They're not quite the same Koi of old. And some question marks have been brought up. I mean, I think last year, what I think made this team very good was that they had those 3 strong pillars. Some of the strongest laners in the league of Odoamne, Larssen, and Comp, and their question marks were like, by losing Odoamne and bringing in Szygenda, sure, maybe Szygenda is a stronger laner. Maybe he does have a deeper champion pool, but does he provide that same level of consistency, or maybe there's something outside of the game that he also brought that maybe has hurt Koi? It's yet to know. Of course, there's still a couple more games for Koi. Well, right now they're still in a pretty comfortable position.
Yeah.
But given that there's only 4 games left, Medic, and with SK's recent streak, I would argue that they're the underdogs coming into this match.
I think so too. SK on a 3-game winning streak, having beaten G2 and Vitality this week. Koi on a 3-game losing streak, obviously, after their recent results. I am actually slightly confused because I see there's no Cookie Monster or Mammoth Man on the side of SK.
Oh.
Well, because they're playing like SK T1, right? But there's no T1 on their team, so but it's just SK, I guess.
Right, yeah, true. I totally got that joke.
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look.
That was a great joke.
Let's have a look at some of these bans. Elise finally taken away from Markoon.
If Kendra was here, he would have got that one.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm 30 years old, Vedic, okay? I'm old. True. I don't get all your pop culture young people references.
Tyler 1, very much known as the Zoomer of the streamers.
The Zoomers.
Anyway, let's get through into the draft. Lucian picked up immediately. There is the Nami response. So Nami Draven is something we commonly see into the Lucian, just to try and harass that lane out. Obviously, you don't need to pick your AD carry now for Koi. Instead, they go for the Maokai. Give Malrang something that ganks well, that also has a lot of damage as the game goes on.
Okay, yeah, I think Malrang locking in that Maokai makes a lot of sense. I'm also not surprised to see the Yuumi come out in response. We've seen Yuumi pretty much do well with any AD carry in the current meta. Yet to see Exakick on the Lucian this split, though, with the Zeri being removed. That was definitely targeted towards him, but he's going to look to be a little bit more aggressive in the early game.
It's fine, guys. They might do it like Astralis and just let him die like halfway through the game.
We will have to wait and see. SK, I imagine they will look to lock in their jungle. They could just go for something like the Sejuani if they wanted to, but knowing Markoon, he's going to look for something a little more aggressive. With no Elise in his wheelhouse. Nope, he's going to stick to tried and true. Meta.
Don't you just love it?
I love the meta.
3 weeks on the same patch.
Do you know what? So, while we lock in some of the traditional meta champion here,
Draven.
Maybe an Ezreal.
Draven. Come on, Comp.
Do you reckon Comp will play Draven?
I'd love to see Comp play Draven. I think he has it in his wheelhouse as well. You know,
sure.
Him and Trymbi can play very aggressive lanes. Harasses the Lucian Nami lane very effectively.
Oh. What did I say, Medic?
You said Ezreal.
I did say that. Yeah. And what did he lock in?
Locked in Ezreal.
Yeah, he did. Anyway, the reason why I love watching Adam is because he sits there and says, listen, I know that this champ that I play can kill your champ.
Yeah.
Right? And it's one of those things where sometimes I think pro players get tunneled on this idea of like what's the best without realizing that there's like 150 champions in the game and you could probably play a different one.
And this is coming from a Nocturne mid connoisseur.
Yeah, so. But there's a difference between pro players who can play everything and me who can play one thing. Okay?
Debatable. Right?
Yeah, exactly. In any case, this is not the space to have that conversation about the meta being the meta. Let's see what they do in the second half of the draft. Sertuss being banned away from Koi does make a lot of sense. A couple of great ultimates that he could have stolen away. Also something that Sertuss does often default to. Of course, Azir is still up and available. I wonder if Koi will look to remove that. Do remember that Larssen is very well known for his Azir. We're definitely not shy away from locking that one in.
Sure.
Could give SK something like the Akali then, which could mean that if Koi is thinking about the Azir, they could look to remove the Akali now, lock in the Azir themselves, and then SK would have to go for something slightly different, maybe a Kassadin perhaps.
I mean, there's also K'Sante open for Koi, right? So you could pick K'Sante on 4 here and then leave your mid lane at 4 last. There's the Azir ban that you were talking about against Sertuss and SK. Aatrox already taken away. So far, Szygenda has brought out Renekton, Aatrox, Jax, Fiora, and K'Sante. So still a couple of options left for him if he wants to stick in his regular wheelhouse. SK just looking for their final ban.
Just trying to think of why they would actually choose to ban away the Aatrox here. The Kassadin does make sense. Still a very strong champion. Cheeky little Lux hover there. Don't expect that one to get locked in. Would be very surprised to see that in mid lane. I'm more expecting something like a Victor, but as you rightly said, there are safe blind pickable top laners right now. Renekton, I think, is perfectly fine, with the Aatrox being removed as well. Cheeky hovers coming out from Exakick.
What we don't realize is it's Yuumi top, and this is the AD carry support that we've seen from Keria.
Yeah.
Kai'Sa is the next one on the list.
Teemo, yeah,
Teemo
totally also makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, would be great into Renekton, actually. Would love to see that.
Yeah, because you could blind his Ruthless Predator. The stun, right? Wouldn't hit you at all. But Gnar into Renekton, a tale as old as time.
Yep.
Up towards that top lane.
Yep.
And then SK mid lane. I mean, you've got a few safe picks. The Victor, Syndra, also a possibility. Could look towards... Oh, you can't look towards the Kassadin because that was banned out by SK themselves.
They could do Syndra here. The only thing you got to think about with Syndra is the mobility. But with Akali still up, yeah. I was going to say you could also go for an Akali.
So if this was like 2 years ago, I'd be all
like,
over
wow,
you right now.
You predicted every pick.
My goodness, how good are you at predicting things? Truly top tier, next level.
But considering you also predicted half the things.
Yeah, when the play-by-play is doing it, you know it's, it's not the most inventive meta.
Yeah. I wish you could be more enthusiastic, Medic.
I mean, we can be enthusiastic about the game. The draft is kind of separate to the game. We kind of see what we expect. But this game... Oh! We can be enthusiastic about both.
Okay.
Second Tristana in major regions, I believe. At least the second Tristana mid.
I know who's been scrimming who.
Do you think they played Vitality this week, Betty?
Okay, so the idea behind Tristana into, well, many matchups mid is that you have unrelenting push. It's very difficult to stop, and in early levels, Akali is just going to get bullied. It means that you can invest early in early tower plates, and basically you can shut down Akali before she even has an opportunity to do anything. So don't be surprised to see comp leverage that strong top side with the Renekton and the Maokai to invest in an early Herald, and then look to drop that mid, open up the map, and then get Tristana moving around, and basically try and funnel as many resources into this Larssen Tristana as possible. Of course, if we do get to the late game, I do think that SK do have relatively good scaling, but even then, there's a bit of a range problem that they might have to deal with double AD carries. Of course, not that much AP damage on the side of Koi, something to take into consideration, but with Maokai running that more full AP build that we've been seeing a lot more recently, it's something that definitely can be a nuisance to deal with. Regardless, though, nothing too surprising coming out from either side. Koi definitely looking to bounce back after what has been a struggling couple of games, whereas SK looking to maintain their winning ways.
SK on a tear this week and already taking the scalps of G2 and Vitality. Koi, another name to add to their list perhaps. Let's get on into the action. And on to Summoners if we go.
Now, as they all just set up a line of scrimmage here. You know when, like, English,
I do know.
like, well, like when people came up with it.
Okay.
Do you reckon some people were like, let's just mess with people, you know?
Okay.
Because, like, let's say you've got a fork and you've got a knife. And you're like, okay, cool. Fork, knife, spoon. Makes sense. How do you spell fork? The way it sounds. Oh, F-O-R-K. Cool. Spoon?
Yeah.
Ah, really easy. Knife, though. What if we take a bit of fork, a bit of spoon, and we make a knife? Chuck a K in there, just to mess with people. I feel like that it was just unnecessary. And the reason why I bring this up is Lind. Why did they name the chocolate L-I-N-D-T? What's the point of the T? Just call it Lind or Lint.
Kit Kats are also available, just as a note. I don't understand how you get confused by the DT.
I just don't get it.
Lint.
I think that...
A lint.
Is it even an English word?
I don't know.
Maybe it's
a name.
Latin.
It's a
What if
proper
it's
name.
Latin?
I mean, all English words are kind of Latin, Greek, Sanskrit, you know, going back
True,
in
they
time.
do just kind of steal from everyone.
So League of Legends.
Well, I mean, look at
Well, I
them.
mean, League,
What are they
League
doing?
actually has
Look at
that
them.
random U in it as well. It doesn't need that U
Right?
in it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying. People that came up with the English language, I feel like they were just messing with people. Yeah, English is funny.
That it is. That it is. But back to the game at hand, SK. 2-0 so far this week, and a lot of that has been off the back of Markoon playing that Elise, having very strong early games. He has been all over the map and has been able to find kills for his team. He's very high K plus 8 kills and assists at 40 minute mark, but also his forward percentage, the amount of time he's spending on the other side of the map. Here on the Sejuani, probably a little bit less likely to be able to find those early ganks, but against someone like Malrang, who you know will be looking for early pressure on the map, you have to try and keep track of where this tree is going.
Well, I will say that for Koi, this is probably the best place to be when playing up against SK, because I think a lot of their success has come from their early game dominance. Markoon has been able to find very successful early game plays, largely through the bot side of the map, setting up early dives. The Elise has been incredibly proactive, and Koi is looking to do the same thing, already leveraging their push prio top lane to set a bit of deep vision. They've dropped the ward on the blue buff of Markoon. They've got a sapling in there as well, and now they know where he is at. The question is, what will Malrang do with this information? He can see the Tristana can rotate round. He's wasting a lot of time, though, as Markoon is able to clear out his walls. Larssen keeping the pressure up. We talked about how, as an Akali, you're just kind of forced to, well, suffer in this lane matchup.
You're diving. That's what Malrang's doing. He doesn't really care about the fact that he's not getting any camps. He's looking for the dive on Sertuss in the mid lane. Now Larssen obviously can get the reset on his W if he jumps forward, jumps back to it, advance going in. Malrang taking up the tower. Sertuss trying to get back to safety. One more auto is enough, and Koi on the board.
Very clean dive from Koi and very well executed. I wasn't expecting them to invest that early, but you can see how straightforward it is. Maokai has great setup. Akali was getting very bullied in the early game. It's just first blood for Koi, so already off to a great start to the game. And again, we talked about the way in which SK have been winning their games is by having a really strong early game plan, and then with that lead, they've been able to control the game very well. By forcing Markoon onto something like a Sejuani, it definitely mitigates some of his early game impact. And Koi are looking to attack already. We're going to have a look back at this dive. Just a bit of information gained as to where Markoon was. You can see the observers highlighting that ward for us. It was Malrang that dropped the ward on the wolves. The ward gets dropped on the blue buff by the Renekton, but we're back to the action.
Looking to kill on Trymbi here. Cleanses away from the bubble, has to flash afterwards. DOS trying to get the auto attack in for the extra shield, and the ignite ticks. And there is a kill for DOS in the bottom lane.
Wow, huge credit to Exakick and DOS there. Comp and Trymbi falling short in the 2v2 once again. Larssen now in a bit of danger.
Uses the flash to escape. You don't want to use your W there because you can get knocked out of the jump by the Arctic Assault coming from Markoon. He could flash while traveling towards you and make sure he catches you, so the flash has to be invested by Larssen.
Good job once again to the SK bot lane.
Yeah.
And some question marks need to be thrown towards Comp and Trymbi. At the start of the split, they looked incredibly dominant. In the 2 versus 2, they looked as terrifying as always. The Kalista Soraka bot lane is something that these two have popularized.
Once again, Exakick with the damage here onto Comp with a couple of Light Slinger procs, not quite enough to kill off the Koi bot lane, but killing him damn well close, and now Comp and Trymbi very much on the back foot. Markoon is on this side of the map, Malrang is not, which means the Koi bot lane have to be a little bit tentative in how they next step up.
Nice aggression though from SK, and they need to find one winning side of the map, given that they are getting pushed and bullied on the top side. Larssen with his pressure in mid, they're threatening the dive on top of Relevant. Gonna go into Mega Gnar though.
It's about 3 minions away from hitting 6 as well. If one of these dies underneath the tower, he might be able to get there. Just needs one more minion, but he can't get it! Still only 5, no Gnar for him. A perfect dive from Koi in the top lane.
Second clean dive of the game from Koi. Szygenda leveraging the fact that he had a level advantage. They were able to stun him up underneath the tower. The chain CC was clean. What else is there to say, really? Koi finding themselves another kill on the boards. Really strong top side of the map, and it goes back to what we were saying in draft. Expectations are that they want to invest in that early Herald, either invest it mid, really mitigate and slow down the Akali, or invest it top, unlock the Renekton a little bit more. Regardless, Koi sticking to their game plan as SK trade on the bot side of the map, and right now, their biggest win condition is the fact that Exakick does have this small advantage in the 2v2.
And you mentioned it, Betty, it's all about unleashing Larssen on the map. Put Sertuss behind, he's already 1,000 gold in the hole. Larssen has that Hail of Blades, does a huge amount of damage on Tristana if you can get that explosive shot cranked up quickly. So you get the most gold in the game by 700 over Malrang, who is running first strike, so gets a little bit more gold on that Maokai. But for now, very good early game start here for Koi. And they need to have a few of these starts, and they need to then translate these starts into winning the game in the end, because recently they've really struggled, and they're only sitting at 2 and 3. And the benchmark we think is going to be 4 wins. 4 wins will likely get you at least a tiebreaker game, if not into the top 8 definitively. 5 wins will definitely get you there. And Koi, if they can win here, only need 1 win next week, really, to make sure that they are advancing to the best of 3s.
I think expectations were coming into the split that, I mean, at least for me, Koi would be the regular season kings once again. You're only changing a single player, and that doesn't take away from the fact that Larssen and Comp have been known to be incredibly consistent. But again, I mean, the last 2 games that we've seen from Comp and Trymbi now dying 2 versus 2.
Yep.
Not something that you would typically say of this duo. And Larssen, definitely someone that, he's no stranger to getting camped. He's definitely had his fair share of games where he's been attacked by the opposing jungler, but I feel like that we haven't seen that same level of early game dominance that we used to from Koi. That regular season consistency right now, isn't there? Perhaps this is where they can change that, interrupt SK's winning ways. Malrang and Larssen, once again, making their way up towards top. The pings are coming down. Relevant knows what is happening, and he's going to play as safe as he can. But that's more farm that he's going to lose, and it's going to give more gold over to Koi.
And all Larssen has to do is shadow. Like, he doesn't actually even need to be near this top lane. He just has to go into Fog of War, position, pretend that he is on his way up towards top, and Irrelevant has to give up quite a lot up towards that top side. Lost a wave. He's going to fall too far behind, but still a struggle. Culling going down onto Comp, holding on to that Arcane Shift. May have used it previously before we saw the play down towards the bottom lane, but good culling onto Comp means that he's down to half HP. And Exakick and DOS continue to, show a very strong 2v2 on this bottom lane. I actually was looking at some of Exakick's numbers in the early game, and across the course of Winter Split, he is right up near the top of the charts. Huge CSD numbers, big gold difference numbers as well. This SK bot lane, although they had a few stumbles near the start, have really started to come into their own. Obviously taking advantage of the fact that Koi bot lane is struggling as the root goes down on Trymbi, but they can't quite get the damage down to finish him off.
It's a bit of a shame that Markoon's on the top side of the map because they could be threatening a dive
They can still threaten a dive. You can always use the Yuumi to tank the tower, and that's exactly what they do. DOS tanks the tower shot, now they can look for comp as well. He does have the cleanse, but there's nothing really for him to cleanse away from. Exakick flashes, and in the 2v2 on the bottom lane, DOS and Exakick come up trumps.
It's complete decimation from the SK bot lane. They're just straight up outclassing Koi's bot lane 2v2, and it's incredible to see. You can see the laughs and smiles on the faces of SK. Once we get more information on the pause, we will let you know. But wow. Impressive stuff from this SK bot lane. You were just talking about how statistically Exakick has been looking very good. Normally that's a cast a curse, but it seems like it was a blessing.
Just, it's so scripted, Vedi. You know, Marcus told me beforehand, he's like, at minute 9, they'll get a double kill in the bot lane, start talking about them right then. But yeah, I think...
and the unfortunate thing is, you guys can't see the minimap right now, but I can.
That's unfortunate.
It's typically at this point, what you'd like to do is kind of base, reset, move up towards top side, try and get a good reset in so that you can have numbers advantage around the Rift Herald, and then you can use the fact that your Tristana is really strong, and the fact that your Renekton is really strong, and you could then look to fight for the early Herald, and then you could do what we were talking about earlier, right, which is try and open that mid lane tower as quickly as possible. But guess what? Exakick and DOS, they get to reset first. They get to spend all the money that they've just picked up. And if they then rotate up towards the top side of the map, that contest around the Herald then becomes a lot scarier. So we're going to see what happens. I can see ready checks coming through from the players. And hopefully that does mean that we will be able to jump back into game.
We will.
It looks like that's exactly what we're going to do. So as we load back up, let's have a quick look at the minimap state right now, and I want to keep my eyes on where DOS and Exakick actually go, because Markoon's going to start this one off. And if you can draw your eyes to the minimap, you can see already Trymbi on his way, but the bot lane immediately making their way up. And this is what we were talking about, leveraging your power to play for these early objectives. And this is going to slow down Koi pretty dramatically as we look back quickly at this replay. Remember that Trymbi not yet level 6 means that it's very easy for Exakick and DOS to be able to bully him out, get a really favorable trade. They decide to stay underneath the tower, thinking that that's a safe space. Yuumi gets the tower aggro, jumps off of Exakick, draws the tower aggro for the time being. Beautifully dances around, able to get that kill, and they know, hey, comp doesn't have any mana, there's nothing you can do to stop us. Wait for all the cooldowns, get the kill, burn the flash, walk away the victors.
Malrang looking up towards the top lane now as Ezreal might be caught out again. No real escape for him. The Wallop does get the stun, jumps away as well. We'll be able to get underneath the tower, but can't really stay there for too much longer. Doesn't have the TP either to get back here, so that's a cannon wave that he's going to have to give up. Otherwise, he would be at risk of a redive. I will just draw a tiny bit of attention to the fact that Markoon had under 20 treats left on his jungle pet, whereas Malrang had over 20 when that Rift Herald was started. So if it was a smite fight, Markoon would have won it, which is probably why Malrang decided don't really want to take that fight alongside the recalls of the AD carries, and the fact that Exakick and DOS were in a slightly stronger situation. Markoon's going to keep trying to get more gold into his AD carry's pocket as he comes down towards this bottom lane. Now, Trymbi does have the ultimate. Comp has Flash Cleanse. Looks like it's just going to be a Rift Herald put down and the charge coming out. Exakick's going to try and get this final plate before the charge does come in. Can't quite land it, but they still managed to pick up 3 plates down towards this bottom lane. You can see a massive lead. I was going to go for monstrous, and then it switched into massive in the end. Hugely, massive lead for Exakick down towards that bottom lane. Let's have a look at where he, in terms of total gold. Him and Larssen really fighting near the top. Okay, ready?
No. Sometimes as a caster, our job is to just talk, right? And sometimes, you know, you have a bit of a fumble of your words. Yeah, sometimes, like, I accidentally said Quickshot's name inappropriately once because I was trying to say a different word and then I was saying his name, and then, you know, mistakes happen.
And I just turned into a sheep.
But I've never heard anyone do what you just did, where you just went, no. I see you were communicating with the whales. Yeah. Now I get it. Right.
I can actually speak whale.
I have heard.
Manages to land the smite on the Scuttlecrab, but sacrifices his flash for it, and Exakick will start up the Dragon right now. No Glacial Prison on Markoon, so Malrang with the Nature's Grasp can try and force them away. And Larssen also very much stronger than Sertuss right now. Sertuss yet to complete that first Mythic. You can see Comp standing off towards the side, maybe looking to land some poke, and SK will be slightly outnumbered if they do look for this fight. They do have TP where Szygenda does not, so Irrelevant could join. But it looks like SK are willing to give this one up. Just want to go back, farm out the waves, wait for Sertuss to hit his Mythic. And it'll be a Dragon apiece at the 12.5 minute mark.
Okay. SK deciding that the waves were more important at that time. Didn't want to gamble it. Of course, not being yet at the 14-minute mark means that it would have been harder, or awkward, I should say, for Irrelevant to necessarily TP in.
Exakick is sitting on about 1.5k right now as well, so maybe didn't really want him sitting on that much gold when Larssen's already backed and got his Kraken Slayer.
I mean, I would say that it was just one of the... where it would have been an even fight, right? Yep. Where you have both sides, 5v5, Koi had better position on the Dragon, and SK just made the call. You know what? We could gamble a fight here, or we could not. Yeah. We know where we're winning. Top is pretty even. Mid is where we're struggling the most right now, but I'm sure that Sertuss will be able to come back into the game later on. Let's just keep funneling gold into Exakick and go from there. And that was probably the game plan. Largely why they just decided to give that one up. Comp, very low on mana. That plate yet to fall.
Yeah, so because they fought them in the minion wave, the minions aggroed onto Comp, so they weren't attacking the tower, so the tower plate didn't go down. It will go down in a second.
They should be able to get it right here. Malrang, though, once again, looking for a dive up top. We can see Larssen already moving through the river. The plate will be secured for Exakick. But Koi have their eyes set once again. This time, though, Markoon lying in wait, ready to offer assistance.
It's underneath the tower. There's the Nature's Grasp coming out. Irrelevant will be rooted by it. Larssen jumped in as well, but couldn't find any purchase or position to take that fight. Koi have already executed 2 wonderful dives this game. Didn't really want to overforce for a third. Plate's now fallen off, though. 4 taken down towards the bottom lane. Interestingly, Larssen was only able to get 1 in the mid lane. He did manage to do a lot on the rest of the map, but the focus for Koi wasn't getting all those plates down. It was trying to shut down Irrelevant up towards that top side.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. Generally in this matchup, you can see really, really scary leads being built for the AD carry. At level 6, Akali can be, well, lethal because she will have her ultimate. But against a Tristana, that's not always the scariest thing because of the amount of ability that you have. You do have to respect it a little bit, but yeah, I kind of expected Larssen to actually be more aggressive, play for more plates. But regardless, right now SK find themselves with a gold lead. Not what I was expecting after how the early game was looking. Koi found 2 great dives into both mid and top, but huge credit once again needs to be given to Exakick and DOS. They're playing the 2v2 incredibly well.
They really are. I did just check. Larssen is running Demolish, but has yet to get a proc off from it. Oh. So obviously hasn't been focused on pushing in the wave. Yeah, it's a little bit surprising, but maybe just giving respect to Sertuss in that lane. Tristana does scale well as the game goes on as well. That draw would be passive, giving you extra range on your E, your ult, and your auto attacks. Will help her.
It's always an awkward one when you're casting and you have these expectations, and then your expectations are met, and you're like, am I the wrong? Who's wrong? Yeah. Or is it the pros who are wrong? You know? You're like, maybe I'm just being unfair to Larssen. Or Larssen did something wrong.
Yeah, I've fallen foul of saying a pro player did something wrong in the past.
It's a dangerous game to play, my friend.
But I think we can say with perfect vision, it looked like Larssen perhaps could have taken more plates with his Demolish, possibly, in the first 14 minutes.
Maybe, perhaps. One could consider. Next Dragon up in about a minute and a half. I expect both teams to look to contest this one. But of course, there is always the option to cross-map. Given how strong SK's bot lane is right now, then we just want to try and funnel more gold. Perhaps they can look to secure that top tower instead. But for now, Akali being sent off to a side lane. Irrelevant down bot. He does have the TP along with Szygenda, but he's already rotated up here. Both teams posturing around the Rift Herald right now, but neither team ready to pull the trigger just yet.
Well, Szygenda is already here. As you say, Irrelevant was catching a wave down towards that bottom lane. He does have the TP, but would be a 5v4 for the duration of that channel of the teleport. Irrelevant starting to run up now. Koi looking for the fight. Nature's Grasp a possibility here for Malrang as they sneak into this bush. Are spotted as they walk through there. Comp stepping forward, unable to land too much damage. Glacial Prison goes down. Rift Herald secured for SK. Irrelevant trying to join the fray. Does have that Mega Gnar. Jumps away from the Ruthless Predator stun.
I saw the 4-man Mega Gnar ultimate too. Irrelevant. He thought about it, but then realized, okay, I will restrain myself as the rest of my team is backing off. And as we talked about it earlier, here's the Herald going down, being funneled into top. They can then just keep that top wave pushing in. Notice the positioning right now of Szygenda and Malrang kind of being... I confused the, you know, like the herded and shepherd, and then I said sherded in my head.
Okay, sure.
But they're trying to make it awkward for Szygenda is the main point, and they will be able to make this connection with the tower. Not going to overstay though. The dragon is up, but I'm surprised that, well, I guess Koi is saying like we can't afford to lose this top tower, so let's make sure that we can catch this top wave, which should give SK the ability to reset first and start making their way down towards bot. But Malrang's already made a beeline, Comp has already gotten back to base, and looks like Koi should have the advantage by getting into river first.
Ready? I'm going to use the Telestrator tool. Tell me if I do it wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look at this, and look at this, okay?
Yeah.
One of them says 5 and one of them says 1.
Yeah.
You know what happens when that 1 becomes a 0?
Smite goes up.
By 300 health.
True.
Now, all that Markoon needs to do, is farm this single camp that he's currently farming. Malrang needs to find 5 camps in the meantime to be able to upgrade that smite. Will they fight around the dragon? If they don't, that point is entirely moot, and you could just wipe the last 30 seconds from your mind. Think Men in Black with the neuralizer, just it's gone, okay? It's gone, we ignore it.
No, that's being clipped now. Everyone's going to call you out at MedicCast on Twitter. Wow, Medic.
I mean,
Nice
the thing
flame.
is, the smite is still true, okay? If Markoon wanted to contest this, he could have smited it 300 health earlier, and he missed the smite, so it would have stolen it, Eddie. Crowd's on my side.
Yeah.
Haven't said anything, but they're definitely on my side.
You can hear them.
See? I got a woo.
That one guy, yeah.
Me and one guy in crowd, just vibing.
Comp needs to be careful here.
Yes, Szygenda coming in. You can see Malrang on his way as well. Nature's Grasp,
I
very
really
long
thought
range.
they were just going to dive him. I guess the cleanse is the biggest thing that was putting them off committing to that. But yeah, that was a juicy Sejuani ult. And that was a squishy Ezreal. But they decide not to. 2 items fully completed on Exakick. He is incredibly strong right now. 2.2k is the gold lead for him. That's largely where the gold advantage is sitting on for SK. They need to make sure that they play around Sertuss as much as they can. That top tower slowly being chipped away at. But I feel like Koi has just kind of lost control of the early game. Again, that's not to say that they don't have solid scaling, but double AD carry with a Renekton, armor gets a lot of value in a matchup like this. When you are playing double AD carry in the early laning phase, sure, it's rough for Akali, but she's really good at killing things.
Yeah,
and
she's
even
at
better at killing squishy things like AD carries. So even though you do have a lot of mobility on the side of the Tristana, Akali is definitely a scary champion to go up against in a side lane, and that's what they're going to keep sending Sertuss. Back up to top lane he goes. He's continuing to farm up, getting closer and closer to Zhonya's, so again, a little bit more armor, making that 1v1 a little bit easier. Slightly less damage than something like the Shadow Flame, but I understand why he's chosen to go for it, especially against a Maokai.
Yeah.
His single target CC can be quite deadly, buys you a little bit more time alongside the Shroud.
I think that is the risk later on in the game for SK, right? Maokai has so much CC just inherently in his kit. Team that up with a tidal wave, and it becomes very tricky for them to navigate fights, for them to stay safe. The cleanse on Exakick will help the Zhonya's as well on Sertuss. And for both these teams, a very important game that we have here. If we do bring up the standings, we can talk a little bit about what it can mean. We said that 4 wins is likely to be a top 8 position. You might have to play a tiebreaker game because you can see XL and Astralis sitting at 1 and 5. If you can get, I will say, SK there says 4 and 2. They're actually only 3 and 2.
That's
right
BDS
now.
that's 4 and 2.
It's
right?
BDS that are 4 and 2, whereas SK, so BDS and SK should swap there. But very important game for both these teams. Koi obviously trying to come off their losing streak. They really want to get to that 4 wins, as do SK. And the sooner you can get there, the less stressful Sunday and Monday are of next week, right?
Yeah,
if SK win the next 2, you get to 5, you're golden.
It's really important to remember that there's, after this, only 3 games left.
Yep.
Like, this is obviously your 4th game, but how crazy is that? If you are not in the if you are not in the top 8, so right now where Heretics is, XL and Astralis, they find themselves in 9th and 10th. If they do not win, well, any games next week, they're out. That's it.
Yep.
Winter Split is done. They will not progress any further. And for SK and BDS to be in the position that they're in, they've had a great start to the season. And this is why hitting the ground running is so important in our new format.
And for Koi, it's not an easy week next week. You know, Vitality G2, 2 teams right at the top of the league, and then Astralis to round it off. But that Astralis game might mean nothing. If you've lost those first 2, sure, you end up at 3 and 6. Good job. You're still very likely to be demoted. You can get through with 3 wins. There's a few scenarios in which that can happen, but Very difficult to sneak your way into the top 8, as we do have another pause coming through.
We do have a pause.
Yeah. And after the next week, we do have best of 3s. Yep. Just to remind everyone, the split doesn't end. We just lose the bottom 2 teams.
No, that's it. We decide top 8, and then that's it.
Casting is a hard life. 3 weeks at a time is all I can do. Okay, 9 days. Yeah. I don't even work all 9. I work like 6 of them. Just go on holiday. I go to Zanzibar.
No, of course we aren't kidding. We will move into best of 3s, and then we will move into best of 5s. A slower game, though. 22 minutes in, 5 kills, Medic. So I'm going to try and lighten the energy.
Okay, do it.
Okay. Crowd, how are you all feeling? Yeah? Okay, I can feel it. But I want, like, have you all heard the song, If You're Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands? Ha ha ha! Okay, they do know this game. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to play a little bit of game, okay? If you love League of Legends, clap your hands. Okay, that was kind of mid.
Understandably.
Okay.
Some of these guys have been playing solo queue before they got
I know, but let's see what else we can find out. Okay, if you love LEC, just clap your hands. Oh, that was more. Yeah, so we got more LEC lovers than we've got League of Legends lovers. Okay, that's normal.
This is like higher or lower that they did.
Yeah, but this is more fun.
Okay, sure.
Okay, now this is be a fun one. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
If you really love Yuumi, clap your hands.
3 people.
Okay, so there were some people who were just having a great time, and then there were like people that they like clapped once, and they were like, "Oh no."
Here's the thing: I abide by the rule. You don't yuck someone else's yum. You know, if someone out there enjoys Yuumi,
wait. Can you say that one again?
You don't yuck someone else's yum.
You don't okay, there are people who are not British here. You're gonna have to explain what yuck and yum is.
Yuck is when something's disgusting, and yum is when something's tasty, right? So it's like, it's not on me to tell you how you should enjoy League of Legends. Okay. Apart from, don't imp my games. You know, that's the only thing. If you're ruining the experience for me, sure, I can yuck your yum. But if you're just enjoying yourself and you're having fun playing Yuumi, I'm not going to yuck your yum.
But if you're having fun, then I'm not having fun, and that doesn't sound right.
That's a you problem, though.
Nice.
Anyway, just so everyone knows, the league officials are checking up on some players' hardware on stage, which is why we currently have the pause. But yeah, I think don't yuck someone else's yum is a nice, motto.
Yeah, okay, that's fun.
Do you want to try some more champs?
I've ran out of champs. That's kind of the end goal that I had, honestly. Like, as a comedian, I wrote like one joke, and I hoped that would kind of carry me through, and then...
You've run out of champs.
No, I mean, like, everyone out, like, okay, how many other champs can people in the crowd really hate? You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, Teemo. Like, I mean, Teemo used to be the hated one.
No, watch. If I go, if you... Wait, hang on. I've got to figure out the syllables now.
If you really hate Teemo, clap your hands.
Oh, there's a few people that hate Teemo. I find, like, that... Imagine that if all decisions were made like this. You know? Like, should Medic be president, clap your hands? See? Done. Now you're president. Doesn't matter. But you're just president.
The sample size is very low here.
But now we've decided. You see what I mean? It's a quick, efficient method of making decisions.
I get that. League officials are just replacing Larssen's monitor. There are many jokes that could be made around this. Like,
name one of them.
It's grayscale. I don't understand it. Where's the contrast gone?
Okay.
Except he hasn't died this game.
True.
Sad. Hey, do you want to hear my favorite joke at the moment? You ready?
I think I know what your favorite joke is, Medic.
I really hope you play along.
Why don't you ask the audience?
No, because it needs to be you, because I won't hear them if they respond. It's an answer-response thing.
What if they clap?
The clapping doesn't fit the joke, Vedi. Please let me just tell the joke, because now I've picked it up. It's only going to get bigger.
What's the joke?
So I was reading a study recently, actually, that showed 1 in 10 people hears owl voices in their head.
Really?
And I think I know who it is in the caster team.
Do you? Tell me.
You could have let me have it.
What? Have what?
Yeah, but do you know who it is?
It's you!
It's me.
You're the imposter! I found the traitor. You're an owl all along. Also, the crowd all shouted who.
Vedi was meant to reply with who. Yeah, thank you guys. You guys are better than he is at his job. So you could have just said who.
Yeah, but I didn't know that was the joke.
You're going to tell me? Yes, you did. I told it to you backstage.
No, you didn't. Medic, I don't listen to you.
You're going to tell me the Welsh joke now?
No. No. Anyway. I'm really out of material here, Medic. What do we do?
We could play... Oh, no, we can't. I was going to say we could play tic-tac-toe on the screen. But we don't have the telestrator on the screen right now, so...
We don't.
Yeah.
What do people normally talk about in pauses, Medic?
Stakes.
Normally about the game, the stakes.
Well, because the thing is, we kind of discussed the scaling, and both teams scale well. The Akali has assassination potential. Double AD carries good. There's CC on side core.
Let's talk about bees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched
the
a video
or the
once.
animal?
No, the animal bees.
Okay.
So you know how like there's this big movement where it's like protect the bees.
Yeah, 'cause they're going
don't
extinct,
kill bees. Yeah. Turns out, right, that we've
If this is a big bees are coming to get you, like, the conglomerate behind the bees, the bee Illuminati, it's going to get you.
It turns out that we're saving
good, right?
that we need to protect all the bees.
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of people are protecting like honeybees.
Sure.
But like bees, it turns out
Tons of them.
Surprising. There's a bunch of different bees.
There's bees that don't fly.
Yeah. It's
Little
crazy.
ground bees.
Yeah. And there's like all these different bees that are like, mainly it's to do with pollination, is what I learned.
Yeah, bees are the main pollinator of plants.
For like so many different things. And like
Everything.
a lot of farmers and agriculture heavily affected by the whole bee
Bees
thing.
dying,
Yeah. So, lesson of the day, protect the bees. But all bees.
Yeah.
Not just the honey ones.
Here's the thing. Most of our audience don't touch grass on a regular
True.
basis. So
That's true.
Unless these are indoor bees, then
True.
I think we're screwed.
That's true. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about worms then?
There were no worms indoors.
Yeah, actually, I used to have a worm farm. Yeah, no joke. Bro, I was growing up in Wales. Okay.
This is peak entertainment in Wales.
Listen, yes, it was. The other thing was, did you have those little like things that you kept in a little water, and they were in like sachets, and then they grew?
Sea monkeys.
The sea monkeys.
Yeah.
Yes. Why were they sea monkeys? Still
I don't
to
know.
this
They were
day,
just
I
like
don't
little
know.
plankton-esque.
But it blew my mind that they came out of a packet, and I gave birth to life.
You didn't give birth to them, Vedius.
And then I was god of the sea monkeys. I was king of the monkeys of the sea.
You were Poseidon, were you?
I was.
In this situation.
Oh, thank God, we're back in the
The
game.
sea-
Oh
no,
no,
we're
we've got a
not.
replay. We've got a replay.
It's not game, guys. I understand.
Let's look back at some of the wondrous moments. We've only had 5 kills this game. These are the great dives from Koi in the early game. Stupendous, splendid, wondrous, and this is SK's bot lane.
Playing really well.
Outperforming Koi's bot lane.
Yeah. Obviously, been together a long time, this SK bot lane. On
They
LDLC
have,
together.
yes.
Widely regarded as one of the best bot lanes in the ERLs last year. And they kill people in League of Legends.
In game.
I do
That's
like
close.
that tech of the Yuumi jumps off, tanks the tower, takes the tower shot, jumps back on.
You
She
said
loses the
I
aggro.
like Yuumi in a sentence.
No, I like the tech.
Yeah, but
the
you
technology.
said the words I like and Yuumi all within one
Sure,
sentence, which has created some problems. So back to the sea monkeys. How many did you have?
I didn't count them. I didn't name them.
How did you not count on?
I
You
didn't come out
name
like
them?
a school teacher and was like, Anthony? Yes, okay, he's here.
You were a terrible leader.
Advienne, also here, excellent.
Yeah, I had Charles.
Okay.
He was the largest sea monkey of them all.
Yeah. I
No,
think
no,
I
no.
killed my sea monkeys pretty rapidly, I'll be honest. Not deliberately.
No, I
but
kept mine alive
As
for
the
a
god
really
of the
long
sea,
time.
I thought it was my right.
What? When you kill people in game, Medic, that's very different. But yeah, growing up, I had a worm farm.
You realize they
I
weren't
had sea
actual monkeys, right? They were little-
I had 2 dogs.
Okay.
3 dogs, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. I basically had a menagerie of wildlife in my home. Spiders, very common in Wales.
I mean, I think they're very common all over the world.
No, just Wales. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, just Wales.
It's the sheep's wool, isn't it?
It's
They
true.
nestle.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, sheep. That would be a scare. Actually, that's a monster that I need to see in a game.
What?
A sheep, but the wool is spider's webs. And it's just like this sheep that comes at you and like, just pet the sheep. And then it's just like, spiders.
That would be. I saw this clip the other day of someone trying to kill a spider with a broom.
Oh, we can shut up. We're going into League of Legends.
We're going back in the game.
Thank goodness.
Great. Okay. Whew. Normally they toss to the analyst desk, but they just let us talk, didn't they?
Yes,
They just let
did.
us talk. Wow. All right. Let's get back into this high octane game. Comp kills a ward. We see them posturing around.
Do you
the
name
top
your
side,
wards?
recalling. No, that would be ridiculous. They're not living things, Medic. If something has a soul, you have to name it. Okay.
So you name your shoes. Too easy.
Oh, I'm so angry that was funny. I'm so mad. There are going to be some people don't get that, and I'm not going to explain it, but I thought that was brilliant. Anyway, Dragon, 45 seconds. Let's have a look at this. Sertuss setting up the bot wave. Irrelevant pushing out top. Has the TP. No deep wards really in the bot side of the map for SK. They do have a little bit of control over the river, but it's this mid wave that's the most important. Larssen will be the first one to get there. We'll have the assistance of Trymbi. Exakick needs to be careful. Yeah, he's going to be forced off the wave. There's that push. This should give Koi access into the river. Markoon's positioning, though, is pretty good. Irrelevant. Going to burn the ultimate there. Of course, it is gated by the fact that he will be forced into his mini Gnar soon. Sertuss setting up a nice flank. Larssen. Ooh, okay. Not going to actually take that fight. I'm a little bit surprised, but I guess he's so separated from his team. Sertuss didn't want to risk it.
Larssen has so much range at the moment, even without rapid fire cannon. He's sitting at 637. Exakick 500 range on the Lucian, so very hard for him to get close. Really needs Markoon to lead the charge, and the Dragon has been begun here by Koi. Sertuss trying to get in here. Double TP is being used as SK try and fight for the third Drake. Nature's Grass coming at Markoon on that front line. Sertuss onto the back. Final chapter being used as well, and Sertuss is doing a lot of damage here. The smite comes in from Malrang as Koi secure that third dragon. Flash away by Malrang as well, but now they're corralled into the zone of death. A wall of history. Comp clings, jumps away. Trymbi low though. Exakick still on the chase, and the TP behind them by Sertuss as he tries to lop them off. Trymbi going low. Sertuss gets the double, flashes away from Szygenda. Another one on the menu. That's 4 so far for SK as they look to make it 5. Comp has nowhere to go, and Sertuss and Markoon will slay him where he stands.
A complete ace from SK, 5 for 0 in their favor, and that was some beautiful Akali play from Sertuss, carefully dancing around the fight and just splitting apart Koi. SK looking to maintain winning ways, looking to secure a spot in the top 8, and looking to upset another Titan of EU.
And sometimes after a pause like that, you can need a couple of moments to reset. SK did that very, very quickly. They are going to start up this Baron. Marang on his way. No ultimate for him for about 20 seconds. TP coming in from Larssen as well as they try and keep SK from securing the big purple worm. Marang, no flash. Obviously has the twisted advance, but they don't have vision in the pit right now, and it looks like Koi will give it up. Baron now secured for SK. Along with it, a 6,000 gold lead, 25 minutes in.
So let's have a look back at this fight, and I just really want you to keep your eyes on Sertuss here and what he's actually going to be doing on the Akali. So he's coming in from the flank, right? And the careful thing you have to be, or the thing you have to be careful of rather, on the flank is getting focused down. You can see Szygenda trying to keep him separated, immediately dives onto the backline, takes Trymbi down to half HP, and then he's going to be able to land his E onto Larssen here. And then as they flash away, he patiently waits over the wall, and this is where the re-engage comes from. He's able to take out the backline. Then a great stun from Irrelevant sets up for the chase. And then he TP flanks in behind. Just beautiful play all around. Exakick barely touched in the fight. We didn't really talk about him much, but the whole SK lineup just playing the fight so well. Good use of the W there from Sertuss. Waited for the smite slow from Markoon. And they do actually hand that kill over to Markoon. Secure. What was that face? What? I too thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Wow, what a commanding performance from SK. 26 minutes in, and they've blown this game wide open.
It's going to be an inhibitor here. Koi giving it up. Larssen is backing, but that inhibitor falls very quickly. Oh, inhibitor tower at least. SK can continue to push. Markoon trying to act as a bouncer as Koi and Malrang try and flank. Nature's Grass coming out. Now they'll all line up behind that big Sejuani. None of them get rooted. Larssen jumping forward. Final chapter being used as well. The bubble does connect. Malrang going forward with the twisted advance. Sertuss isn't here, but Malrang's already dead in a 4v5. SK still coming out on top. Markoon's going to reset. The inhibitor has been felled. And 7,000 gold in the league. In the lead. SK look to make it a clean 3-0 for the week.
The damage from Exakick is just ridiculous right now. And the way that they played that so patiently. SK, a team that many expected to be bottom of the standings, you can see continues to surprise. A lot of young faces. Believe it or not, Markoon is the veteran on this roster. 1 split, I think. Irrelevant. I think he only came in summer of last split. And then Sertuss, I think last year he joined. I forget if it was exactly in spring or not, but a lot of very young players, Exakick and DOS, of course, joining the league. But for them to be doing this well, this early on, perhaps they can be a contender. Of course, still a lot left of this winter split to go.
Yeah.
But right now, they are looking good, and they're looking to continue their winning ways. I had heard coming into the year, this was one of the dark horse teams that I've been told about. They've been doing well in scrims, and it was about could they translate their scrim performance onto stage. And we even heard it from the players in an interview. They said like they were a little disappointed. Their expectations coming into week 1, they couldn't really translate it onto stage, but they are translating it right now as they knock onto the towers of Koi's base.
And Koi, after a good first week, really struggled this week. Currently 0-3 in their last 3 games. Looking to try and upset it a little bit, get that win on the board, get out of that losing streak, but SK are not giving them an inch, not giving them a moment to breathe as they push forward for this second inhibitor. Szygenda trying to get round on the flank. Markoon stops him in his tracks. As the second inhibitor felled by SK. Warmog's finished on Markoon means that he can face tank any saplings that come out. He knows that he will regen. Markoon just trying to chase it down. Couldn't quite get there in time, but the sapling does still just blow up now with super minions pushing in top lane. Larssen has to go answer that. Irrelevant can split down towards the bottom side. Markoon looking for Szygenda across the wall. Can't quite get the stun down. Szygenda pops the Dominus. Irrelevant trading with comp. SK don't have a minion wave. The Nature's Grasp blocked by Markoon once again. Bubble coming in as well, but Markoon very tanky, and that's the guy that you want on the front line if you can have him. Gnar into the wall. Exakick goes unstoppable as he dashes forward. The final chapter going on to comp as well, and Sertuss now diving in. A little bit late to the party, but timing his entry perfectly as he dashes back out. And Koi do lose a man. Exakick healed up so much. Oh, Trymbi's by himself! You can't stand that close to a Lucian. The Light Slinger will take you down. Exakick putting down the DPS in this game. Comp trying to dash forward. Markoon has the Glacial Prism back up. Comp dashes away with the Arcane Shift. But SK, TP in. Glacial Prism on Comp. The culling being used as well. SK, they can chase them down here, or they can just go for the Nexus Towers. Larssen flashes across the wall. DOS was on Sertuss' shoulders, so SK a little bit split, but those Nexus Towers the target right now. The second one will fall, and SK, after a disappointing start, have toppled Titans this weekend. Hysteria for them as they go 4-0, killing off Koi.
A surprisingly dominant game from SK. Yeah, the start was slow, but so much of the credit needs to be given to their bot lane. The fact that they were just straight up outplaying Comp and Trymbi, this was not something that I was expecting coming into this week. This duo, this team has leveled up coming into week 2, and they can be incredibly proud of their performance.
Yeah.
For the first time in a while, SK is looking like a contender, and they are challenging the top dogs. And now they join many other teams at 4 wins.
It's been a long, long time since SK was a name that was really feared at the top of European League of Legends now.
Ironically, Freddy 112 is probably the last time you remember SK contesting the top of the table, the coach of Rogue. But yeah, Koi.
I wasn't going to bring that.
But yeah, a bit of a fall from grace from Koi. They definitely have been struggling. Their losing streak continues as SK's extends. We'll have to see what this team can continue to do. There were question marks around could Markoon still impact the early game. Turns out that bot lane doesn't need those jungle ganks. It was just that initial setup looked promising, but these guys are more than capable of finding their own advantages. So huge props to them. They're setting themselves up beautifully for next week. Of course, we cannot confirm any teams have locked top 8 just yet. 5 wins will pretty much lock you.
5 wins does lock you.
Oh, 5 wins
we can
will
confirm
lock
that
you.
if you get to 5 wins, you are locked because both Astralis and Excel cannot reach 5 wins.
So there you go. SK, 1 more win next week, and they've secured top 8.
That they have. Your player of the game votes at LEC on Twitter are Markoon, Sertuss, and Exakick. I think it was a solid game from everyone. You know, Sertuss had that really good team fight around the Dragon. Markoon's early game was a little bit scuppered.
It's got to be Exakick.
I think
for me.
I would go Exakick.
His bot lane performance was just incredible, and like we didn't talk about him as much in the team fights, but you could see his impact pretty consistently. Yeah. His damage was incredible, and overall he had a great game. Huge props to SK, a team that I think very few expected to perform very well here in the Winter Split, but so far are absolutely dominating the top of the table.
And next week they have Astralis, Exile, and Fnatic to play, so it's possible that we see them not just sneaking in, not just sneaking in. Maybe they're like a second or third place team. Get yourselves a better seed.
Based on their current performance, that could definitely be a 3-0 week for SK if they keep playing like they are.
Well, we'll see if they can, and we'll hear from Sertuss if they can as well, who's standing by with Trouble.
Thank you very much, Medic, and congratulations, 3-0 weekend. You've taken down Vitality, G2, Koi, all in one weekend. How does this feel?
It feels amazing to win games, especially after first week, 2 losses. Also, like last year, wasn't the best splits we had. We missed playoffs twice, and now the split is not over. We have still 1 more week, and yeah.
I'm just gonna quote you from yesterday. Tristana, nah, don't think I'm going to see it again. Anything on that matter?
I mean, I still think this champ is bad. It's just I died in early game. It's the only window where I can die. It's like pre-6, because after that, he can't even match me on side lane. I can just jump on him and one-shot him. So I'm still not convinced of Tristana mid lane.
So you'd allow anyone else to pick it into you?
I mean, I don't know. I'm playing against it twice. It's a bit annoying, but yeah.
Well, congrats on the full turnaround from week 1 to week 2. And we had a little chat backstage and we're talking about all the Zika champions that he's playing. Is he potentially somebody you were looking up to?
Yes, especially last year during Worlds, but also during LCK Summer, where he wasn't really hyped up. I was looking into his gameplay, and I guess he plays the same champs, right? Sylas, Akali, Azir. I love these champs, and yeah.
All right, let's zoom on a little bit from the picture and from the whole game. The mentality that you guys brought in week 2 has seemed to net you 3 victories over some really strong teams this week. Are you still carrying on with the, it's just a scream, guys, just get on stage and laugh at it?
Yeah, we have still the same vibes, and we are also looking for next week to go confident into the games, like scrim games, but also not underestimating our opponents, right? Like, everything can happen, everyone can beat everyone, so we are aware of that.
Very nice, and just to zoom out a little bit more, 2 teams that you did beat this week, G2 and Vitality, are battling it out on the next game. They're walking up on stage right now. And the big question and the big anticipation is the Bo versus Yike. Who's taking it?
I'm going with the rookie, Yike. I think G2 will take them down. I think after we bet them on Saturday, they become angry yesterday and stomped.
You angered them? Okay.
Yeah, they stomped them, and I think they learned from that. So I'm going with G2.
All right, well, thank you very much, Sertuss. Congratulations once again on a 3-0 weekend. And we're moving on to Game 4 straight after this break. Don't go anywhere.